My reaction was disbelief. I received 6 phone calls from the nuncio. I did not pick up on the first 5 because I thought it was a spam call from Washington, D.C., because I don't know anyone in Washington, D.C. So when I received the call from the nuncio, I actually thought it was a joke, because sometimes priests prank call each other. They say it's the Pope, and I didn't even know who the nuncio was, to be honest. Sorry. But I thought it was a joke initially. But then when he said, no, it's real, it's me, Christophe Pierre, I was in total shock. I had to sit down to listen to the news, but it was it was a really shocking phone call. The most challenging thing is when to put the miter on and when to take it off. I still don't understand all of this. But also, just every day I wake up, I sort of have to ask myself, is this real? Just the responsibility, just knowing that I am one of the successors to the apostles now. It's really humbling, really beautiful, but also something that every day I just have to ask myself, like, what is going on, Lord? And why me? But God is good and God is merciful, and he's showing me the way, which is his son Jesus. So little by little, just being led and prompted by the Spirit. World Youth Day. So this is my 8th World Youth Day. My first one was in 2002 in Toronto, Canada. And what I'm most looking forward to is the experience of my young adults. I'm going to be taking the delegation from New York. And some of them, it's first time. And I remember my first time and my experience there. So I'm most looking forward to their reaction to being with the Holy Father and millions, hopefully, right, of young people from around the world sharing their faith and on fire for the Lord. So I'm really looking forward to seeing their facial expressions, to seeing what they what happens with them and their encounter with Jesus over there. Also, I'm the pastor of St. Anthony of Padua Church in the South Bronx, and actually it's the birthplace of St. Anthony. So to actually see where he was born and take my young people from my parish there, I think that's going to be such a great experience. My favorite memory, probably, there are many, being on 8 of them, but my favorite memory thus far is still 2002, Toronto, Canada. We are sleeping on the field on an airstrip, and it starts to rain really early in the morning. So there's nowhere to go. We're just getting soaked. And one of my kids, she started to cry. And I think she hit her breaking point at that point. So she just broke down, started to cry. And it was kind of mean of me, but I started to laugh because I said, there's nothing you can do. There's nowhere to row and nowhere to go. And I'll never forget it when St. John Paul II came in the helicopter in the chopper, and it was still raining and it was overcast. It was ugly. And all of a sudden, he began the Holy Sacrifice of the Mass. And if you were there that day, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And he said, wind, rain, and now the sun. And it was epic. I mean, all of a sudden the sun came out and it was beautiful. And like 2 minutes later, we were all bone dry. And her tears, because she was crying, turned into just this immense joy. And I just looked at her and she looked at me and I just said, was it worth it? And she just had this just smile and this extreme joy on her face for the rest of the Mass. And it was so beautiful. It was such a touching moment for me and for everybody who was on that field, because St. John Paul II, as you know, he had that effect. When he came to New York in Central Park, it was almost the same thing. It was raining, raining, raining. Then he gets out of the Pope Mobile and it stops raining. So for me to be on that field that day with that young woman, that young girl, it was just beautiful, beautiful experience. My favorite saint, Uh, uh, there are many, I'm sure, but I would have to say Blessed Miguel Pro, one of the Mexican martyrs. And the reason why he's my favorite saint is because he was a clown. He was very funny, and I can relate to him a lot. He was a prankster. He was a jokester. In the midst of persecution, he had to celebrate Mass in different outfits. He would dress up as a car mechanic. He would dress up as all of these things to be with the people, and the people knew him and loved him. But he had a great sense of humor. And Blessed Miguel Pro for me is probably one of my favorite saints. There's this image that he drew of a donkey, and it's actually two donkeys facing each other, and on the bottom he wrote "Ya somos tres," and now there are three of us. So in other words, like he was like, I'm also a jackass. He had a great sense of humor. He never took himself too seriously, but he loved Jesus and he loved his people, and he died in it. As you know, maybe the story, when he was killed, he died with rosary in one hand, cross in the other, and basically said, "Que viva Cristo Rey, long live Christ the King." So he's one of my favorites.